What's up YouTube? Welcome back to another tutorial, and in this video we're going to be going over React Context and more specifically the useContext hook. So why might you want to use this? Well, we all know about local state, and the hook for that is the useState hook, of course, but what if you want to use some more global state? So traditionally you might reach for something like Redux. Now that React has come out with context, that might not be necessary. Now, there's obviously still times you're going to want something a little more hefty, a larger state management system, but I find useContext is pretty good and can handle quite a few of your needs. So let's get right into this and show you how it works. Okay, so right here, we just have our app.js. This is just a create React app setup, and I've added two components to a components folder. So just a first component, pretty much blank, and a second component here, which is also pretty much blank. Now, the first component, I'm importing the second component, so I'm bringing this into the first component. Okay, so let's go back over to our app over here, okay? So the first thing we want to do when we are using useContext is we got to actually create some context. So let's come up above here and let's come down, give ourselves a little bit of room here, and we are going to go const and we are going to go name context. Now, whatever your context is, you can name this whatever you like. For us, we're just going to pass in a name, so that's why we're calling it name context, and then we are going to consume that in our other files here in our second component over here. So let's go name context here, and that's going to be equal to React dot create context like that, and then we're just going to call this. Now, when we call this, we're going to get two things off of it. We're going to get a provider and a consumer. Now, we want to come down in here, and let's actually just get rid of this right now. We don't need any of this. And we can come in here, and we can go name context and dot provider. Okay, just like that. And then we want to pass in a value, and that's going to be equal for us to Darwin. We're just going to pass in a name for now. But this value could be anything. It can be an object. Say you get in some data from an API or something, you can pass that in there. And yeah, so that's good. And then we are going to come over and close that off and then pass this down. Now, let's go over to our first component here and let's bring this into our app. So let's go like this, and we'll say first component and auto import that and close that in. So now this name context.provider is wrapping our entire component tree here, because we're bringing in second component to first component, so that's going to already be in there. So it's wrapping first component. So right now, our name context and the value of Darwin should be available anywhere else in our app using the useContext hook. Now, how do we use that? Let's go and check that out. First of all, let's go ahead and save this. That should be good. And now we're again bringing second component to here, and then second component, this is where we want to use that useContext hook. So one thing we want to do is we want to bring in the actual name context that we created here. So we want to bring this in, but we actually have to export that, which we forgot to do. So export that, because otherwise it won't be available. And then come back over to the second component here. And let's come in here and we will go like this. So we'll go const and we're just going to call it name. And that's going to be equal to useContext. And we can bring that in. So make sure you bring that in up top. And then from there, we just want to pass in the name context. Now we haven't brought that in, so let's come up to the top here and we'll say import. And we'll go name context, just like that. And that is from .app, .slash app rather. Okay, so that's where we're bringing it in from. Remember, we created it here. Come back over here, and then we're passing it in as the name context to this useContext. So with this, now we can use that. We can use this value, which is Darwin, anywhere in here. So let's come down here, and we'll just go like this, and we'll give it an H3, or H4, I guess, and we will say name, just like this, and close off those brackets, and give it a save. And I have my terminal running already, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, recompiles there. And then let's refresh this. And if you can see over here in the corner, we're getting Darwin. So that's coming from the app. So instead of passing it down via props, it's available just through this useContext hook. Now, this is not necessarily what you want to reach for everything. A lot of times, props is just the easier solution, but it is good if you want to use this throughout multiple components in your application. That's a good use case. And yeah, there's just many reasons you might not want to prop drill down through your entire application. So hopefully that's useful. Hopefully you got something out of it, and I'll see you in the next one.